Hey everyone, it's me, Teacher Valerie. I wanted to give you guys a chance to listen and see the story about what happened to me on December 2nd and everything since then. So, this is me sharing an intimate part of my life, but something that I feel really comfortable sharing with you because it's such an amazing story. And so, please continue to listen and share it with anybody you want. So, on December 2nd, I was, it was in the evening. My son had gone to bed. My husband and I were in our living room working on our laptops, doing separate things. I was sitting on the couch and I had some background music on, very mellow music. And all of a sudden, it was like that song had gone from the laptop and just implanted in my brain. I felt it like it was surround sound, like I had earbuds in and it was getting kind of loud. And then in a like split second later, all of a sudden there was another song that also started playing in my head. A totally different song, different key, different rhythm, different orchestration. Everything was just very different. So I looked around to see, was that my phone going off or what was that? It turned out what it wasn't. It was just my head. So as soon as I realized that there were two songs going on, colliding in my brain, I knew that something wasn't right. So I was about to tell my husband, hey, something's not right. But I didn't get that far. Turns out I blacked out. In that moment, I started having a seizure. So that whole song collision thing was like the aura of the seizure as it was coming on, but I didn't know it at that point. Um, So I started having the seizure, couldn't breathe, right? Everything in my body seized up. When my husband realized something was wrong with me, he looked over at me and my lips had turned blue. And so he rushed over to me and he um, he held my head in his lap and he started praying immediately. He said, in the name of Jesus. He started praying the name of Jesus over me and he said, in the name of Jesus, release. And at the moment that he said that, in the name of Jesus, release my breath, I exhaled. And then I started breathing again. So it was right at that very moment that I started breathing again when the name of Jesus was spoken over me. And so after I started breathing again, he was able to call 911, and the paramedics were here real fast, like within 5 minutes. And they got me into the ambulance, and I was still having my seizure at this time. When I had gotten into the ambulance and I was on my way to Kaiser in Redwood City, the um, I had been waking up from that moment. My husband, in the meantime, stayed home with my son, and he called my parents, who live an hour away. My parents rushed immediately over to the house, and in the meantime, while they were on their way, I was able to get into the emergency room, ask for a phone because I didn't have mine on me, and I was able to dial his number. He answered the phone. He was surprised that I had remembered his phone number, and he said, your parents are on their way to the house so that I can go and come to you. So just wait for me there. So in the meantime, I had a CT scan done on my head, and later on, when they had seen the results of the CT scan, what they found was benign calcified meningioma um, in my head between the skull and my brain. And but the funny thing was, is they said we don't think that this has anything to do with the seizure that you experienced. And so everyone has wondered since then, like, huh, that's weird. Why? You know, So basically, if I hadn't have had the seizure, I wouldn't have found the thing. But the thing in the head has nothing to do with the seizure. And furthermore, they're saying it's not really doing anything. So we don't think you need to operate on it. at the moment. But what happened next was I was released. So Monday is when the event happened. Tuesday I got released out of the hospital. Wednesday I had to go back to the hospital because between Tuesday and Wednesday I was not able to keep down any foods or liquids, and so my body was very dehydrated. So I went back to get an IV. I got hydrated again, and I was also told to get an MRI. So on that Friday of that week, I got an MRI done to look more deeply and closely, more detailed at what was going on in my brain. And on Monday, I had an appointment to go over the results of the MRI the following Monday. And what was very interesting about the appointment and the results of the MRI is, yes, it confirmed that there was the meningioma in my head, and the neurosurgeon who was looking at the MRI also had said, yeah, it doesn't look like this has anything to do with the seizure that you had. However, we see on the MRI that you also have scar tissue in your brain. And that is because when I was 6 years old, back in 1994, I was one of the very first children to have brain surgery for the purposes of curing epilepsy. From the ages of 6 months old to 6 years old, I was epileptic. I had seizures, partial complex type seizures. And since then, since that surgery, I have been seizure free and medication free. The doctors back then, who were some of the best doctors in their field at the time, had told my parents, hey, we don't know if she's going to survive this surgery. And if she does survive the surgery, she may have uh, memory problems, big time memory problems, and also speech problems, because the part of the brain that they ended up taking out was the majority of my hippocampus. And the hippocampus is the part of the brain that controls memory and speech. So the doctors, of course, asked you, do you want us to proceed with this surgery? And my parents thought, well, yeah, we're going to trust God, and we're going to give this girl a chance, instead of um, being handicapped the rest of her life. Let's see if the surgery will work. Well, clearly it worked, right? Because here I am, and if you know anything about what I do, at least in the teaching sense, I am uh, teaching regularly to big groups of kids and parents and one-on-one, and I use my memory on a regular basis, and I definitely use speech quite a bit for my work. So it's amazing. That was really the first miracle that God did in my life. Jesus protected me during that surgery and gave me the ability to function the way that I do, despite despite what was taken out of my brain. And by the way, I'm not using a teleprompter right now. um, so that was amazing miracle number one, right? In the context of all of this, then amazing miracle number two is Jesus saved my life on December 2nd when I had this seizure. 31 years later, totally different type of seizure, by the way, and then so we go through the week of the seizure that it just happened, and they say, yeah, it has nothing to do with your past. All that scar tissue, all the things of the past had nothing to do with this event. Um, that week, though, after the seizure and after I had gone back to the hospital to get the IV and I had the MRI, my body was in slow recovery mode. Physically, I was getting a little bit better every day, but I was in a total mental fog still. I was I was reacting slow. I could do basic things, um but I was slow. I was feeling really foggy headed and a little bit dizzy. And so Sunday, here's amazing miracle number three in the context of this story. Sunday, I get prayed over again in the name of Jesus. This was in the context of going to church, and we're currently going to the bridge in San Carlos. And it was one of those Sundays where, I knew that I needed Jesus, and I needed him to do another miracle in my life. And I live daily knowing that I need Jesus. But anyways, so Sunday I get prayed over, and immediately when I had two people praying over me, when the name of Jesus was spoken over me, and they had their hands over me, they said that in that very moment there was heat radiating out of my head, and it was also in that very moment that my mental faculties came back to me immediately. And I was like a veil had been lifted off of me. I could think clearly and sharply again. It was like nothing had happened. I was feeling so good, in fact, that I was able to go back to work that Tuesday. So Sunday, this healing happened where I was able to not be foggy headed anymore, not feel like I was struggling whatsoever. And I was back to teaching on Tuesday as if nothing had happened. And you can tell my Tuesday students that whole week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I went in and I was teaching, I mean, like with renewed joy and energy as if nothing had happened. I mean, those were real miracles that happened in my life. And so it's been just incredible, just amazing. And ever since then, because like I said at the beginning of this video, it has been about a month now that this has happened. I have still felt really good. I haven't had any seizures since then. I'm on a medication to prevent further seizures from happening. Um, but I've not had any seizure whatsoever. And God has been so good to me. And it has been nice, of course, to have had the break over the holiday season to rest a little bit and to keep my mind off of work. But um, yeah, I'm I'm great. I am so so good. And so the questions remain, right? What do I have to do with the meningioma in my head? Is there anything that I need to do further with regards to the seizures? Well, I only had one, unrelated to everything in my past. I am going to have follow up appointments with my neurologist, and but as of now, after looking at the CT scan and the MRI, I do not have to operate on the meningioma because they say it's not doing anything negative to my brain. We just have to check it again in 6 months to a year to make sure it hasn't changed, hasn't grown. And so, yeah, I'm thanking God for that. And I will let you know what happens next as soon as I have any more medical updates. But in the meantime, if you want to know more, I've been very open about how this, I've had very great uh, medical team around me, and of course, family to be there for me in the right moments. But the thing that is the main thing that has kept me alive is um, Jesus. Jesus saved my life. He healed me, and I want to be able to tell you more, but in the context of this video, I'm going to have you guys click on a different link so that you can go to my personal page and you can watch another video about more of that topic because it's really important for me and I would love to share it with you because this is not something that is just for me. Um, it's something that I want to share that can also be for you too. So I hope you're blessed. I hope that you have found this to be a really encouraging video. And I can't wait to share more with you in person. If you have any questions for me about any of this, if I see you in person, please reach out to me. Otherwise, go follow that other link, listen to more. And my contact information is there too. If I won't have a chance to see you in person, I'm reachable by email, by comments, and I would love for you to follow me on my journey. So find my social media links and follow along with me. All right. Have a blessed day.